We're going to decide once and for all which is better in MMA, UFC fights, right? BJJ or Judo? Comment down below, what is your opinion? Do you think Judo should be more prominent in UFC, MMA fights, or Jiu-Jitsu? So just so you guys know, I'm Team Judo, and I'm going to break down why I think it's better. Number one, I think Judo has just been misrepresented in the UFC because of the fighters just aren't good at it. Other than Ronda Rousey, in my opinion. I haven't seen enough of Islam's fights, but him and Khabib have used Judo the most in their fights, but just the small clips that I've seen on like Instagram and stuff, like the form isn't the best I've seen. I mean, it just doesn't look like explosive Judo that you see like on the mat. I think a big reason for that is A, they're fatigued as heck, and B, it's no gi, so it's a lot harder to grab and throw. So, you know, most of these guys are doing like trips, foot sweeps or whatever, like kochigaris, but every now and then you'll see some really cool hip throws. Now, the next point, people on the other side are going to argue that, okay, like most of these MMA fights end up on the ground, and Jiu-Jitsu is more superior on the ground than Judo. True and false. I mean, all Jiu-Jitsu gyms, that's pretty much all they do is drill, like, you know, ground game, right? And Judo's more stand-up takedowns, blah, blah, blah. However, not all Judo gyms just do Tachiwaza. They do a lot of Newaza too. Like, particularly my dojo, we drill a lot of like turnovers and stuff. Granted, we do train with gis, but I promise you, if you were to put me like one-to-one with a guy no gi on the ground, like I wouldn't be like a freaking newbie. I would know what to do, and I'd probably submit them, because you gain a lot of just like chimp strength, as Joe Rogan says, just from doing Judo and getting used to picking people up and being explosive and awakening those fast twitch muscle fibers.
Judo is far more effective because Judo involves people grabbing people and flipping them and slamming them on the ground. First of all, those guys are so freaky chimp strong. Some of the freakiest chimp strong guys I ever roll with were Judo people.
So I just personally think Judo athletes who have been training for years are so much stronger. You just develop a stronger frame, a stronger physique, harder, denser, condensed muscles versus, you know, Jiu-Jitsu guys who just wiggle on the ground all day long. So my third point would be like a little comparison. I always go back to Ronda Rousey's fights because she was an Olympic judoka, and from what I've seen, she's probably the fighter who's demonstrated the most Judo, other than, you know, like Khabib and Islam. I always pick her because I'm a little biased, I guess, because she does like the really good throws that I like to do, like the Uchimata, Harigoshi, but she also has an amazing transition to arm bars. Where do you see Jiu-Jitsu guys being able to transition cleanly from a takedown to a submission? That's another reason why I think Judo would really help these MMA guys versus just Jiu-Jitsu, man. Because just think about it, like all fights start on the ground. You're never gonna like approach an opponent in guard like this guy.
Oh, just be careful, this ankle, a little bit dodgy.
Take it from me, 7 years of Judo. If you just learn a couple of takedowns, 3 at most, and you get really good at them, that's all you need. That's all you need. I'm not telling you to get a black belt in Judo, just get 3 throws. Ogoshi, Taiotoshi, or like a Kataguruma, you know, fireman's carry, whatever. Just learn those 3 throws and just universally apply them. No gi, self-defense, MMA, you know, whatever. In Jiu-Jitsu, but if you're gonna do MMA or whatever, learn how to transition from, you know, like a fireman's carry right to a pin or a choke or an armbar, right? And it's gonna help you wonders than just being a Jiu-Jitsu guy who just trains submissions and arm locks, okay? You gotta know like amazing takedowns. Now, I'm gonna go a little bit on the Jiu-Jitsu side here. What I'll give to the Jiu-Jitsu guys is, again, it is true that they do drill a lot more of the little nuances that there are to ground game, like, you know, how to get arm bars, and especially with no-gi, which is so much more difficult, especially when your opponent and you are all sweaty, you slip. You know, it's hard to get a grip and to grab the arm bars, kimuras, and show. It's a lot difficult, so I have to give my respect there. But that's not to say that you don't do any of that in Judo, right? But it's just by default. Like jiu-jitsu guys are just gonna have like a 20% leg up on judo guys, just for the mere fact that most of their focus is on the ground. And that's honestly all the points that I can think of at the moment. So which one is better for MMA? I would just say if a mix of both. But here's the thing. I think I'm gonna go with judo, because not saying that jiu-jitsu is totally bad, but it's like if you start first with judo, because judo is just more difficult to learn, you know, how to execute a perfect takedown and not injuring yourself or whatever, and just learn how to do it clean, like hip throw. But then after you've perfected it after like a year or two, because you can get really good really fast depending how much time you dedicate to it, just focus on transitions to arm bars and like ground game after that. I guess we would consider that jiu-jitsu, but that's technically judo. It's newaza, because jiu-jitsu was born from judo, right? If you can just like morph the two, but starting with judo, I think that would help you more in MMA. So the winner would be judo. But it's not to say if you already started with jiu-jitsu, you can't learn judo. Just dedicate more of your time to the takedowns. Like work on your weaknesses first. So that's my take. Comment down below if you agree or disagree. And follow me on Instagram, because I am training my butt off every single week for the next year, and I'm upping my judo game, and I'm showing you guys, I'm documenting every single day on my stories. Gym, randori sessions, solo training sessions, throwing the dummy, and how much my technique and my stamina, my mental strength has improved so much, and just how it's affecting my life, my energy after work, whether or not I take my butt to the gym, how I just willpower through things, quitting vices, just self-improvement, man. Judo's a journey. So go follow me on Instagram. Links are in the description.